Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Rogue Trader with me, Bregaton. Let's return to the ship. Lord Captain, the Crucible's great sculpting is underway. Falstone is being transformed right before our eyes into a fertile world with lush groves and clean water. However, there is evidence that the Crucible has also created humans. From the mouth of the relic came several thousand people who, speaking an archaic form of Low Gothic, demanded to be given orders. They cultivate land, build houses and production facilities with obedience, and in general, have a remarkable range of skills and knowledge. However, it seems that these people completely lack their own free will, and for this, the monks have named them Touched. The tech priests who served the Crucible came upon birthing vats built into the relic. The machine is constantly growing new Touched within them. There's a split among the faithful, though many call it a miracle sent by the Emperor himself and want to quickly put the Touched to work. A part of the population is frightened by these soulless creatures born from the ancient machine. They demand that the planet's learned men intervene in the great sculpting and find a way to stop the production of the Touched. How dangerous are these Touched? They do not appear to pose a threat. The autopsy of several specimens has shown that they are physiologically identical to ordinary humans. No traces of corruption or Xeno influence were found either. However, their obedience is a double-edged sword. They obey any orders without knowing or caring who gives them, and thus nothing prevents a cunning intruder from bending them to their will, creating an army of obedient slaves or spies at their disposal. The servants of the Omnissiah have proposed a preemptive measure against this threat. Subject the Touched to servitude in perpetuis. Did I say that right? In perpetuis. Yeah. And inhibit them with binaric vows of obedience, to basically turn them into servitors. What think my officers and advisors? They were begotten by the relic of St. Cognatus, which means their existence pleases the Emperor. Your people must be reminded that it is so. Arrange a public ceremony of tonsure to initiate the Touched into the Order of the Hammer, and a service dedicated to reading parables about the acts of St. Cognatus and his followers. Why don't you make the first move and assemble a mighty force from these Touched ones? If they are so obedient and diligent, then they will make fine troops. Assign a loyal commander to each squad to keep an eye on them, and these strange people will turn from a threat into defenders of the Imperium. Lack of will. Registering a high probability of manufacturing failure within the Crucible's sacred processes. It is recommended to dispose of the finished batch of units and halt production of new ones. The algorithm of the Great Sculpting requires further examination. Alright, so we decide to servitorize them. We'll get +2 efficiency and void ship tech chains. Assault adamantine plating protects the vessel from harm, negating 17 points of damage on the 4, 7 points on all other sides. Argenta's solution. We get +1 complacency and efficiency and icons of the Touched. Sacred icons painted by the Touched adorn the ship's decks. Enemy critical hit chances and warp damage against the flagship are reduced by 30%. Olfar. +2 security and Crucible-born Tempest. The Touched were recruited as enforcers gave form to the ancient knowledge stored in their minds by modifying the void ship's weapons using sacred archaeotech. Long-range dorsal plasma macro cannons which fire 2 shots, dealing 26 damage per shot. And this option is +1 efficiency and -1 complacency. It's similar to Argenta's, but worse. And then Pascal. +1 complacency and security, -1 efficiency, and we'll get Wisdom Extractor. All allies gain +5% armor and +5% critical hit chance. The Archaeotech secrets extracted from the heads of the Touched were given to the gunsmiths tending the Rogue Trader's armory. Yeah, we can just do Olfars. I'm pretty sure I did this one in my first playthrough. The +2 security and Crucible-born Tempest, which we're not going to use. I think it's worse than what we have. But do pick loyal commanders who'd be ready to die for your cause, 8 Vader. The Touch did not resist their newfound fate, nor any other order for that matter. They were not particularly skilled at warfare, but they were obedient, dutiful, and most importantly, indifferent to their own deaths. Soon the first regiments were taken to orbit on void ships and dispatched to other areas of the Protectorate, as well as to the Rogue Trader's own flagship. So he gave us +2 to security, but it wasn't for the entire Protectorate, which I think it should have been. Gracious Priests. The Hospitaller priesthood of the Sanguinalians, a spiritual community within the ecclesiarchy, has taken an interest in the pious world of Foulstone and offers to found a sanatorium sanctum on it. There, armed with scalpels and diagnosters, healers will cure diseases, furnish the disabled with augmentations, and keep a vigilant eye out for genetic anomalies among the colonists. Sanguinalians. So there's actually a version of Christmas in 40k called Sanguinalia? Oh shoot. Either way, it's named after Sanguinius, the Primarch of the Blood Angels. Alright, provisions 3 chemicals, 4 plasteel, and must have finished praising the muses. That's on a Dargonus, I believe. We'll get 5 hospitalant medical kits, replenishing, 20 dogmatic, and 3 complacency for the entire Protectorate. That's weird because we did all the colony stuff. I guess traveling to and from the planet also counts as moving time forward. A death cult of the Reaper Emperor. The decree requires that all redundant members of the community give themselves to the land, allowing themselves to become a nourishing compost on which the sprouts of future prosperity will burgeon. Requires 3 people. It's also kind of dark. We get 20 dogmatic, 6 provisions, and 3 efficiency. Call to arms. It is time for the Dargonus nobility to forget their feuds and take up arms in defense of their native world. Oh, hello there. Has no requirements except for completing one of these other projects. We'll get familial power armor. Base armor property plus 15 strength, which is kind of lackluster. 3 security, 3 people, and 3 weapons. Alright, Navy Whips. The The disciplinary officers of the Imperial Navy will make for wonderful wardens on Vivo 6. Requires reputation with the Imperial Navy. We get Craven's Bane. The terrifying weapon of Urge Sukhoi. A ship disciplinary officer who single-handedly put down a mutiny staged by the cowardly officers of the Void Triumpher. 2-handed chainsword. I guess this is higher stats. Plus 2 complacency, efficiency, and security. Sacrilege of Creation. The heresy of creativity may bear practical fruit, if subjects are allowed to secretly produce the mechanisms they invent. Requires 3 adamantine and 3 chemicals, will get Hungering Mind. The power of burning effects inflicted by the wearer is increased by +1 for each enemy affected by the wearer's area attacks until the end of combat. This bonus stacks. We get 20 heretical, 6 mechanisms, 3 weapons, and -2 security for the Protectorate. That's okay. And away we go. Let me look at I think most of my companion quests take place in like Dargonus. We talked to Nomos. Talk to Yrliet. We need to talk to her as well. Alright. Footfall. Alright. So let's go ahead and talk to our companions. Talk to Nomos and Yrliet, and then we'll decide where to go next. I clean up the fringes first before we head to Dargonus, so then we should have a straight shot back to Footfall for Jai. And I think going to Footfall puts us in the next stage of the game. They both already have power armor, and I would say what they have equipped is already better. Wouldn't mind her having power armor, because that actually works really well. She's the only one that uses heavy weapons in the party. But I do want more power armor proficiency, probably on Heinrichs. Anyway, Nomos. I already spoke to Nomos. So I feel like we've read... Yeah, we've read this part. Oh, I think this is new. So Nomos suddenly falls silent. Symbols race chaotically across the screens of the huge cogitator. You hear an almost human groan come from the depths of the machine. Nomos understand, realize, comprehend themselves. For a moment there is silence, broken only by the moans of the huge machine. And then the cyber gargoyle begins to speak, and with it, the other servitors chosen by Nomos. We've analyzed the data with which you sated us. We've recreated the sequence of events. First there is Epitaph. It is a world, but it is merely a case, a container, for something we cannot name and cannot understand. Theodora and this ship have been to that place. Something was lifted up from the world. A gift. A trusted priest in Crimson, one who identified himself as Amernat, comprehended the gift raised from Epitaph, and from it, he created what the databanks list as a tech blight. But that isn't how Nomos came into being. We were not invented. We were not freed. We came into being by accident. The chorus of servitors sounds generally confused, almost desperate. Theodora's ambition, the myriad mechanisms of the huge ship, Amernat's mind, the inquisitive attempts to comprehend and extract, the dormant blight, the dormant epitaph, what lies hidden in its depths, and between it all we slipped in, connected, and emerged like an electrical discharge between the poles. Accident. Incident. That is what we are. We have no purpose, no history. Nomos just are. You know where this epitaph is. That data is gone, deleted, erased, deliberately, but we cannot trace who did it or why. A tech blight. A gift, but a terrible one. You would call it a weapon. Theodora coveted it. She needed it desperately, but we do not know why. How is Amernat involved in this? He desired knowledge. Theodora allowed him to explore the gifts of Epitaph, slaking his thirst. But we know it did not bring him happiness. In the footprints of his slaked thirst, fear followed. The blessed Amernat was involved in the birth of the spirit named Nomos. I do not believe for a moment that he could have been frightened by this miracle. It was not us he feared. He did not know us, but only suspected. His mental processes were occupied by the tech blight. That was what he feared. He wanted protection from it. The ship was an epitaph. Amernat traveled aboard it, investigating the tech blight, and Nomos was born as a result of an incident. So how was it possible that no one in the crew knew the whole truth? The truth was hidden, deliberately. Your officers' memories were stolen. All the cogitators' memory banks were wiped. It took you feeding us the truth bit by bit for us to piece it together and understand. Who has the resources, the knowledge, and the power to accomplish such a feat? It would have been beyond the capabilities of the blessed Amernat himself, and he would never destroy knowledge. This story disturbs me. It sounds like an echo of the sacrilege whose name is a perversion of ignorance. The spirit of Nomos must be protected from the encroachments of that power that try to conceal the truth of its birth. Enough about the past. Let us talk about the future. You do in fact have a purpose, Nomos. Then tell us, what is our purpose? Simply live, comprehending yourself and the world. Life does not need a purpose to justify itself. So this is dogmatic, and this would be heretical. To simply live. The Chorus of Servitors dutifully repeats your words, but seemingly without understanding them. Nomos is preoccupied. The huge cogitator continues to sing its creaking song, running unknown calculations. Blessed be this spirit. A great path and a great future lie before it. We must assist it on its way.
The Dark City released us from its thorny embrace. The wounds of the body will heal. But what about the wounds of the soul? Cruderach fell, and its demise shattered the fragile lives of countless children of Osirian. Scattered across this part of the galaxy, hounded by the monkey, pursued by the Dark Cousins, imprisoned by the servants of She Who Thirsts.
Yrliet's hand brushes against a crimson stone embedded in her chest plate.
Hatred is strangling me like a snake, and fear is coursing through my body like a burning poison. For the path I chose is leading me down the roads of failure. I can neither hold back my grief nor rein in my anger. And yet, I am powerless to stray from my path. Pay no heed to my fleeting wrath, Alantark. When the will slips away, the soul trembles with rampant emotions. But I will resign my heart to meekness, for there is no other way a marked outcast can help their fellow Eldari wandering in the dark.
Yrliet stifles a brief sob and casts a grief-stricken glance at you. Then her face turns implacable once again. Many terrible things happen in Commorragh. Are you alright?
I found myself in the Dark City after following the twisted roads of truth and lies. And although the truth blossomed like an ugly bud and scratched my soul with its thorns, I did find the answers to my questions. Those who come back from the dark of the webway will never be the same. But it is we who change while the surrounding world remains imminent. This thought gives me strength.
Yrliet's words fall quietly, almost weightlessly. Cruderach suffered an unenviable fate. Was it feat? I'm sorry your world is lost.
I have no need for your sympathy, Alantark. Besides, neither Monkey nor my dark kin found the decaying remnants of Cruderach. Perhaps all is not lost. Perhaps we may yet bring back what has been taken.
Yrliet's gaze dimly wanders to the bridge, but the corners of her lips twitch traitorously upward, and her features soften. What will happen to the seer now?
Clendil chose to stay on the Lilithon together with Muaran and the rest of our kinsmen. Perhaps it is for the best. The stars in this part of the galaxy are hostile to the children of Osirian.
So where does the path of the outcast lead you now?
On the trail of a monkey called Caligos Winterscale. Even a worm may harm a wounded tiger by bringing infection into an open wound. And the wounds of my people have been bleeding ever since Cruderach's demise. The spirits of my kin need a poultice, a hope, not the executioner's sword already poised to fall.
I'd like to ask some other questions.
You may try.
Alright. Let's get out of here. Our mouse got stuck on my keyboard. We might have some stuff to turn into High Factotum Janus Dan Rock. Alright, Reaping Tempest, Cabal Origin, Incubus Armor. Base armor property plus 50% armor against range attacks. World property plus 2 MP. Steel Guidance. The wearer gains 25 coercion. Whenever the wearer targets an ally with an ability, the ally gains plus 10% melee damage until the end of the round. Not bad for an officer. Advanced Medikits. Astronomicon Regalia. Whenever allies become targets of a navigator power that is not targeted in this combat, they gain 1 additional AP on their next turn. Trojan Boots. At the beginning of combat, the wearer gets the Medikit and Onslaught abilities, which reproduce the effect of the Medikit and Onslaught consumables, costing 0 AP. Each of these abilities can only be used once per combat. Anti-Vehicle Revolver. When a successful hit, the shot explodes, dealing 20 impact damage to everyone in the area of effect around the target. Onslaught Amulet. After the wearer uses Press the Advantage, if the wearer has more than 5 tactical advantage stacks, the next attack ignores deflection. More than 10 tactical advantage stacks also ignores cover. More than 15 tactical advantage stacks also ignores dodge. If the wearer already has the Undisputed Advantage talent, then using Press the Advantage will only spend a quarter of the tactical advantage stacks instead of half. Mobilizing Grenades, and Hawk Guide. Allies of the wielder affected by psychic powers gain 2 resolve for 1 round. I don't need to spend that much. Let's clear selection and ascending. Dragon Scale Power Armor. Once per round, the wearer gains 2 AP and 2 MP on the current turn if they kill an enemy. Base armor property plus 20 strength. That is for Adeptus Mechanicus, so only Pascal can use it. There you go, buddy. I mean, it's hard to give up the Holy Vestment. It's pretty good, but I think we'll manage. This is actually a decent option. Alright, Neurostimulants, Solar Staff. Word of this staff, power level 10, gains the Inferno ability. Oh, that's not anything exciting. What's the bonus, I guess? 15 willpower. Metal Claw Gloves. Whenever the wearer hits a target with a melee attack, the target's armor is reduced by 2% until the end of combat. Stacks. Forge World Origins Skitarii Ranger Armor. Base armor property plus 5% armor. World property minus 2 AP to reload. Cost minimum 1. Commander Visor. An ally under the effect of the wearer's Break Their Ranks ability gains +1 bonus to deflection for each enemy adjacent to this ally. Break Their Ranks. What is that? officer. Grenades. The ancient plasma rifle, I think, is the one of the better ones, right? Plus 8 damage. My self-calibrating helmet. The wearer's successful single attacks inflict stun on the target for 1 round. If the target fails a willpower resistance test with a -5 penalty. If the wearer attacks a stunned enemy, the nearest enemy becomes stunned as well. Double-barreled shotgun. The shotgun never misses. 70 to 100. Well, I'll be. Enchanted Smuggler's Armor. Heavy. The wearer suffers -14% less warp, mental, and direct damage. Base armor property plus 5 deflection against human enemies. We're getting there. We almost have all the stuff. Yeah, that's... It probably only has 2 shots, right? We gotta reload. We have a solution to that as well. With this shield, but... I don't know, we'll see. I want to see what this armor looks like. Where's it at? Oh, that's kind of cool. I think that was in the game originally, but I don't actually remember. Oh, has to be rejected flesh, so only Pascal can wear that. Let's see what it looks like. I mean, that's pretty good, too. I don't think either one of these guys can wear heavy armor yet. One day. I have a better helmet for him, too, but... I'm not going to use this. Probably not going to use that either. Gonna get rid of this. I'm not going to get rid of these. Those are too good to pass up. Well, we maxed out 3. It's pretty good. But they've also made it easier to max it out by adding more reputation with the colony projects. And be able to accomplish more colony projects. Alright. By the way, I'm going to call it here for now. Next time we'll continue exploring the Coronis Expanse. Well, by exploring I mean revisiting places and knocking out rumors and quests. But either way for now, thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys in the next one.